Good morning and welcome to another beginning keyboard class. And because we have some real beginners out there, I want to go back over the counting of the dotted quarter note. And so if you'll turn to page 80, we're going to review that just because if you're new to this, that can be a real challenge, but I'm hoping that I'm explaining it in such a way that, you know, it's understandable. And so, so to begin with, if you're looking at the very first example there, you got a half note, you've got a quarter note equals a dotted half note, right? So that's 3 counts. So 1 and 2 and 3 and equals 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Then when you go down to the next example, 1 and 2. So let's break it down this way. So the 1 is an 8th note, and is an 8th note, and then, so you're holding, right? 1 for 3 8th notes or a dotted quarter note is the same thing. So if you look at the number and the and, each one as an 8th note. So in the second example, you've got 1 and 2. So that's the 3. So you got the number is an 8th note, the and is an 8th note, and the number again is an 8th note. So you've got 3 8th notes. So 1 and 2, and that gives you a dotted quarter note. So then down below, so you've got a quarter note, 2 8th notes, quarter note, 2 8th notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? Okay, now what you have is, okay, let me go back. So sometimes that tie, what that is you're holding. Okay, so let's go back to that 4/4 count. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay, which is the same as down below, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? So that's where it can get a little confusing. So if we go over to page 81 then, so we'll start by counting. So we're in 3/4 time to begin with. Later we go into 4/4 time. So 3/4 time, so you've got a dotted quarter note, which is 3 8ths, right? So 1 and 2 and for that quarter, or that 8th note, so 1 and 2 and 3 and, right? The quarter note is a 3 and, so that's the equivalent of 2 8th notes, right? So let's do it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, so let's do that again, because yeah, if you're not paying attention, and it's like anything, it's like you have to practice it. You have to go over and over it again. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So if you go too fast, it might confuse you. So let's try playing it. So then now you have to think about the counting and the notes. So you're going here, you're going here, you're going here, and then you're going back down here. Okay, so 1 and 2 and 3, no, 1 and 2 and 3, okay, wait, but I'm playing the right, I'm counting, I'm playing the wrong note. So you can see, yeah, so, okay, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, okay? So now in the next example, it's 4/4 time, so we're going to be dealing with more eighth notes here. So beginning in the first measure, we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? So again, we're starting on G. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 didn't have my hand on there. Okay, so now the next one, we're going down below to the middle C position again, but as you can see, although it's in 4/4 time, you're starting with 4 with the, in other words, you've got 1 quarter note, then you've got your 4 beats, and then you've got 3 beats. So it's a little confusing, but a lot of music starts with an uneven measure. So that's what we're dealing with here. So counting 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and, you see, it's not, we're not going to 4 because we had 4 in the beginning. So once again, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, okay? So let's put, okay, so that's on G2. So 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, no wait, 1 and 2 and, okay, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, okay? And then the last one, 4/4 time, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? So you're going from here to F, 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 and then C to G, E, and F. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? So we did Alouette the last time. I'll just play it again. This keyboard is so different than what I brought last time, but it's such a hassle bringing that big old keyboard down here, but it sure does sound better. But anyway, we're going to deal with what we've got. So, okay, so here again, you're starting with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you see? So, okay, so says brightly, so we'll take it a little bit slow this is just a review. We did this last time, but okay, now the fingering on here is pretty clear because it's, they give you the beginning in the first measure. So I'll just quickly go over the fingering just so that you have it right. So in the first measure, you have 1, 3, 5 in the bass, right? You've got 1, 3, 5. So G, E, C, and then you've got from C to D to E, which is 1, 2, 3 in the fingering, and then in the next measure, it's you start with 2. You go 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, and then they've given you the F, the G, F, B, right? And then 1, 3, 5, just like in the beginning there. Okay, so in the last measure, 1, 2, 3, 3 is your fingering, and then again, 5, 3, 1. In the second line, okay, again, you've got 1, 2, 5, right, in your bass, and then 1, 3, 5. And then in your, the fingering in your treble clef is 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. And then in the bass, it's 4, 5, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1. And then in the treble clef, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1. And then the next line, 5, 5, 5, 1, 1, 1, 5 and 1, 4 and 2, 3 and 2, 3 and 3, 2 and 4, and then 1 and 5, 1, 5, 3, and then 2, 3, 3, and then the last line, 1, 2, 5 for the bass, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 3, 5, 1, so 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, so 1, 2, 5, 1, 3, 5. So it seems like I've neglected the fingering recently, so I just wanted to catch up on that. So now going to page 83, we're dealing with sixths, and what you're dealing with is, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's what your normal fingers all together, and then, so you're going from C to A, that's a sixth, and if you relate to it, you've got the C and the A with 4 white keys in between. That's a sixth, okay? So with your melodic interviews, you've got 1, 2, 1, 3 in terms of the fingering, 1, 4, 1, 5, and then you move your fifth finger up 1 from G to A, So then when you do it in the harmonic interviews, so you've got 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4 in the fingering, 1, 5, and then you move up one with the 5th finger. Okay? So, same with the left hand. We're starting with C. C, 4, 5, or yeah, 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, C to F, 5, 1 to G, and then 5, 1 to A. Okay, so 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 1, and 5, 1. So that's what we're going to be moving with when we did the lavender blue last time. It's okay, so that's your left hand, and then right. So just going over this once again, so and you repeat. So you're using your sustain pedal on that last 2 measures, right? Okay, so now we're going over to page 85 and Kumbaya, which means come by here. Now we're dealing with 2 time signatures, a 2/4 time and a 4/4 time. But when you really think about it, we're dealing with quarter notes so when you look at the first measure, it's 2/4 time, but your quarter note still gets 1 beat, and if it's in 2/4 time, if you have 2 quarter notes, that's the entire measure. So it's 2, 1, 2. And then they immediately switch to 4/4 time, and so you have 4 beats in the measure, but when you really stop and think about it, it's not that complicated. But what they're doing is, because later on, as you'll see, sometimes you're going to be changing your time signature. So anyway, so what we've got here then is you've got C, E, okay, and then, okay, you've got 5, 1, or 1, 5 in the treble, and then you have 5, 3 in the bass. So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So now here, you're moving from, we're dealing with 6th, right? So this is a perfect example of going from C to G, from C to A, right? And then the same in the bass clef, you're going from C to E, from C to F, right? So again, starting in the beginning, it's like, now we're moving, and then back. So it's, and then you're moving up a sixth, and then back down. So F and G, you've got a D here and an F and G here. So now you've got an F here, but you've got a C and an A, you got that sixth. Okay? So that's using the sixth. So writing sixths, so you've got some examples here of, you got some boxes up above there, so you're going to indicate whether that's a second or a third or a fourth. And so the easiest way to think about it is if whether you're on a line or a space. So in this example, the very first measure, you've got a C and a D. Well, that's a second, so each line or space is one, right? And so when you go from G to, let's see, we're in the G to E, so G to E. So if you look at your fingers, so that's a sixth, G to E. Okay, so you can do those, and then the same down below, you can fill in those blanks. And so there is an exercise here which deals with sixths, and so it begins by skipping. It goes from C to A. Now we're in the treble clef, obviously. So C to A, to G to A, to F to A, and to E to A. And the fingering is 1, 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5. Okay? And then, so you skipped 1 to begin with. You went up a sixth, right? So C to A, G to A, F to A, E to A, and then you start on D. And then you go up a sixth. So D to B, A to B, G to B, F to B, and then you go E, C, B, C, A, C, G, C. Okay? So, and then with your left hand, you're going from C to A, just like we've been doing. So again, so C, A, G, A, F, A, E, A, then D, B, A, B, G, B, F, B. Okay, so. And then together. Okay, and then going down from the top to the bottom, okay? So it's good practice. It takes a while, but anything that you can do to take you out of your comfort zone is good, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to go back for the counting of the eighth notes, the dotted quarter notes, the dotted half notes, to make sure. It's so difficult. I don't have any feedback. I don't have anybody here that I can, who's struggling with what, who is excelling. And so it's a real challenge to teach to an unknown situation. So please bear with me. I'm trying to be as thorough as I can, and under the circumstances, hopefully this is certainly better than nothing. Okay, so, okay, we're going to page 88 now, London Bridge, and again, we're dealing with sixth. When you play in positions that include 6 or more notes, any finger may be required to play 2 notes, and that's what we've been doing, and we will continue to do so. We've got C, E, G in the bass, and then we're starting with the 4th finger on G so that the 5th finger can be on A. Okay, so. So you're ending up back with the 1, the 2, and the 1 in their normal position. So you've changed. So you've got C, E, G, you've got G, A, G, F, E, F, G, and then you switch from G, F, B, and you're fingering. Okay, let's go back to the fingering in the second measure. So you've got E with your second finger, and then F with your third, and G with the 4th. Okay, just like you began. And then when you go from fingering 1, 2, 5, that's G, F, B. Then you go, your 1 is D, E, F, so 1, 2, 3, and then you move from C, E, G, and then you go 2 on the E. So E, F, G, 2, 3, 4, okay? And then on the next line, so 5, 3, 1, and then 4, G, 4, 5, 4, 3 on the F, and then you're still holding, right? So, and then 2, 3, 4, that's E, F, G, and then 5, 2, 1, and then 1 on the D, 4 on G, and then when you come back to C, E, G, then it's on the E with your second finger, and then 1 for the C, right? So. And then repeat, okay? So the same goes for Michael Row the Boat Ashore. It begins the first 3 measures on the treble clef. So you have 1, you have C, E, G, but the fingering is 1, 2, 4, and then 2, 4, 5. So in the third measure, 4, 2, 4. And then the A, 5, and then the G, 4. Okay, and then going down to the bass, you have C and F, right? And then in the last measure, you have C and E. So 5, 3. And then the E, 5, and G, 1, right? So in the last measure, in the bass, you've got G for 1, and then E with your third, F with your second, and then back down to the E for the third, D with the fourth, and then C with the fifth, D, and then E, third finger, D, fourth finger, C, and then up on top in the third measure on the last line there, you've got your fourth finger for the G, third finger for the F, and then second finger for the E. Okay, so you're going to start off, when you get to the bass, it's going to be C, F, and then C, E, and then E, F, or excuse me, it's E. So third finger, you're raising to G, G, E, F, E, D, C, D, E, D, C. Okay? So, repeat. Okay. Now when you get to the next page, Blow the Man Down, I'm sure that most people know the feel of this, the way it sounds, and it's a little tricky in the beginning, especially for beginners, right? And so what you're dealing with, fingering, I want to make sure we get the fingering. So on the treble clef, let's do the first line. So you're starting off with your fourth finger on G. So then you got G, you've got A, you've got G. In the third measure, E, C, E, G, A, G, okay? And then the next line on the treble, or let's go ahead and do the bass on the first line. So you've got C, and then you've got G, E, so that's fingers 1 and 3, right? So 5, 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 5, 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 5, 1 and 3, 1 and 3, okay? Then in the second line, you've got your E with your second finger, and then you go to C, to E, to G, and then A with the fifth finger, your F with your third, your E with your second, and back to the third for the F. And then in the bass, you've got C with 5, and then 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 1, 3. But here, you go to the B, F, G. So 5 on the B, F and G, F and G. And then on the treble clef, you've got, with your first finger, you've got D, D1, 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 and then F is 3, E is 2, D is 1. 3, 2, 1. And then the bass clef is the B with a 5, and then 2, 1, 5, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1. So that just repeats. And then you've got, in the bass, you've got A with a 5, G, 4, 4, 4, 4, F3, E2, D1, E2, and 1. And then in the bass, you've got 5, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1, 2, 1, 5, 3, 1. Okay, so it says moderately fast, but in the beginning, you're not going to go so fast. So let's just take it a little bit slower to begin with. So. There's a extended hold, right? So. Okay, so that will take us to our next lesson next time, which will be page 90, and we're dealing, still dealing with sixths, and that's a real pretty piece. So that's what we'll be doing next time. So. I hope that helps you with the counting and with the playing. So at this point, I'll say thank you very much and see you next time. All right.